Picture this. You walk into a store for just one item. 20 minutes later, you're walking out with a cart full of things you never planned to buy. You might think this was your decision, but you've just fallen into one of the most carefully engineered psychological traps in modern business. Today, we're going to reveal the invisible architecture that's designed to control your shopping behavior. What you're about to learn will change how you see every store you walk into. In 2019, Target's revenue hit $78.1 billion. Walmart, $524 billion, and Costco, $152.7 billion. But here's what's fascinating. Roughly 40% of all purchases in these stores are completely unplanned. That's not an accident. It's by design. The modern retail store is more than just a place to buy things. It's a carefully crafted psychological landscape where every detail, from the floor plan to the lighting, is engineered to influence your behavior. And it all starts the moment you walk through the door. Ever notice how the entrance of every major store feels somewhat empty? Retailers call this the decompression zone, the first 5 to 15 feet of space when you enter. But this seemingly wasted space is actually the first psychological trigger. When you enter a store, your brain is still processing the transition from outside to inside. You're adjusting to new lighting, temperature, and surroundings. Retailers know that during these crucial first few seconds you're not ready to shop. Any products or signs placed here would be wasted, but more importantly, this zone serves another purpose. It slows you down. As your walking pace decreases, you become more receptive to what's ahead. This is where the manipulation begins. Have you ever noticed that most stores guide you to turn right when you enter? This isn't random. Studies show that 90% of Americans naturally turn right when entering a space. Retailers exploit this right turn bias by placing their most profitable items along this path. Take Macy's, for example. Their highest margin items, cosmetics, jewelry, and accessories, are almost always on the right side of the entrance. The same goes for grocery stores, where you'll typically find fresh produce, flowers, and bakery items, things that engage your senses and put you in a spending mood. But this right turn bias does something else. It establishes what retailers call the power wall, the first wall you see after turning right. This wall typically features new, seasonal, or high-margin items, carefully arranged to catch your eye and trigger your first impulse purchase. Remember that meandering path through IKEA that seems impossible to escape? There's a name for this. It's called the Gruen transfer, named after architect Victor Gruen. It's the moment when your destination-oriented shopping transitions into impulse buying. Most stores use a counterclockwise layout that guides you through a predetermined path. This isn't just about exposure to products, it's about psychological manipulation. The more time you spend in a store, the more likely you are to buy something. But here's where it gets interesting. Studies show that customers who walk counterclockwise through a store spend on average $2 more per trip than those who walk clockwise. This might seem small, but multiply that by thousands of customers per day, and you'll understand why stores care about these details. Ever wonder why stores constantly rearrange their layouts? They're creating what psychologists call disruption points. When you can't find what you're looking for, you're forced to slow down and look at other items, increasing the chance of impulse purchases. These disruptions aren't just about moving products around. They include strategic product placement at eye-level end cap displays that break your shopping momentum, cross-merchandising that suggests additional purchases, speed bumps, special displays that make you pause. Take Target's dollar spot near the entrance. It's designed to be a speed bump that disrupts your shopping rhythm before you even start. With items priced at $1, $3, or $5, it creates a psychological anchor of low prices, making other store items seem reasonably priced in comparison. The manipulation goes beyond what you see. Stores engage all your senses to influence your behavior. Sound studies show that slow-tempo music increases shopping time by 15%. That's why you'll hear relaxing music in most retail environments. Smell. The scent of fresh-baked bread in supermarkets isn't accidental. Neither is the placement of Cinnabon in malls. These aromas trigger hunger and increase the likelihood of food purchases. Touch products placed at touching height are more likely to be purchased. That's why high-margin items are usually at adult eye level and touching height, while lower-margin items are placed higher or lower. The final psychological trap happens at checkout. Those small items lined up near the register, they're called impulse items for a reason. After you've committed to making a purchase, your resistance to additional small purchases is at its lowest. But there's more. The length of checkout lines is carefully calculated, too short, and customers don't have enough time to look at impulse items. Too long, and they might abandon their purchase altogether. The ideal length? About 6 minutes. Just enough time to browse those tempting small items. Understanding these psychological traps doesn't make you immune to them, but it does give you power. Next time you shop, try these counter strategies. 1. Make a list and stick to it. 2. Use a basket instead of a cart. They fill up faster, making you more conscious of purchases. 3. Shop with cash instead of cards. 4. Time your shopping trips. And 5. Recognize when you're being led through an engineered experience. The modern retail store is a masterpiece of psychological manipulation, designed to separate you from your money in the most efficient way possible. Every element, from the layout to the lighting, is calculated to influence your behavior. But here's the most fascinating part. Even when we know about these tricks, they still work. That's because they're not just manipulating our conscious decisions. They're tapping into subconscious behavioral patterns that are hardwired into our brains. Next time you walk into a store, look around. Notice the decompression zone, the right turn bias, the power wall. You're now one of the few people who understand the invisible architecture that shapes your shopping behavior. If you found this insight into retail psychology fascinating, make sure to subscribe to Invisible Ledger for more revelations about the hidden forces shaping our economic lives.